Thanks for joining us on Plus TV Africa. My name is Felicity Ezewike. Nigeria's federal government has concluded plans to secure a $150 million loan facility from the World Bank to help battle polio. The Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, spoke to newsmen after its Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by Acting President Professor Yemi Osibanjo, saying the facility will help boost polio eradication efforts in 12 states after federation, namely Adamawa, Bayelsa, Gombe, Jigawa, Katsina, Kebbi, Kogi, Nasarawa, Niger, Plateau, Taraba, and Zamfara states. Also, the Minister of Works and Power and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, added that the Federal Executive Council session approved the dualization of the 412.6 kilometer Akwanga-Jos Bauchi Gombe Road at an estimated cost of 348.593 billion naira. The construction period is 48 months. Meanwhile, the bank account of the Akwa Ibom State government has been frozen by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. This was made known on Wednesday by the State Commissioner for Information, Charles Udo. Udo said state authorities only learned of the development and there were no prior indication from the anti-graft agency. A spokesperson for the EFCC is yet to respond to requests for confirmation. This is coming just as the governor, Samuel Otum, raised an alarm that the EFCC has frozen the state's bank accounts, trapping workers and pensioners' salaries in a state beset by hardship following months of deadly attacks by suspected headsmen. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Governors Forum and governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz Yeri, has also described the freezing of Benue State accounts by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission as unconstitutional. Governor Yeri disclosed this after a closed-door meeting with the acting president, Yemi Osibanjo, in Abuja. The Benue State government, reacting to the action taken by the anti-graft agency, described it as a political witch hunt. The Governors Forum chairman is also of the opinion that a move by the EFCC was wrong, adding that the state has suffered a backdrop of security challenges which has claimed the lives of many. He called on the federal government to address the situation. The People's Democratic Party has called for the immediate unfreezing of the official account of Akwa Ibom and Benue states blocked by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. PDP, in a statement issued by its National Publicity Secretary, Kola Ologbodiyan, on Wednesday in Abuja, called on acting president Yemi Osibanjo to immediately order the EFCC to unfreeze the accounts. He described the action of the anti-graft agency as a direct attack on innocent Nigerians in the two states. He also said that the act is illegal, unconstitutional, overtly wicked, and unjustifiable under any law and practice in Nigeria. He advised the presidency not to hide under the EFCC to unleash punishment and hardship on the people in the states perceived to be opposed to the All Progressive Congress re-election bid. The President of the Senate, Dr. Bukola Saraki, has called for sanctions on personnel of security agencies that act outside their constitutional mandate. Dr. Saraki, while speaking to newsmen at a World Press briefing on the recent siege of the National Assembly, called the act undemocratic and an attempt to change the leadership of the Senate via unconstitutional means. Our correspondent Amadine Uyi reports.
Lawmakers arriving at the venue of the International Press Conference. In attendance were members of the Parliament from both the Senate and the House of Representatives. The President of the Senate, Dr. Bukola Saraki, while condemning the siege of the National Assembly by personnel of the DSS, said it was a reckless show of power and an assault on the legislative arm of government.
The forcible shutdown of the legislature was an unconscionable assault on a national institution, and thanks to all your efforts, the aggressors have been put to shame. The resistance mounted by our staff of the National Assembly my colleagues in both chambers, and the civil society who refused to leave the entrance of this complex until siege was broken. Strengthens my faith and that of the Honorable Speaker in the people of this country.
Dr. Saraki commended the public for condemning the siege, saying it is proof that the nation is on the right path.
With the strength of will demonstrated by everyone against unwarranted and unconstitutional militaristic might, the siege could not stand. By this, we have shown that Nigerians can resist governments within government in whatever guise, and this is humbling for me in particular.
The President of the Senate and other lawmakers present also called for a need to ensure there is no repeat of the siege in the future. They also added that they want those who actively participated in the siege to be sanctioned.
The executive knows the right thing to do, and that's why they did the right thing yesterday. What we're saying that they must be consistent. Now they have set those standards. Any security agents that acts in the same act against democracy should be sanctioned similarly.
You can see a couple of times judicial precedences, judgments has been made, resolutions have been passed, but these same agencies don't obey that. So the issue is not about oversighting them. It's about them complying with already existing ground norm, which is the Constitution, and resolutions from this House, which is binding on them.
Sacking him is not enough. He has to face the consequences of breaking the rule, the laws of the land. He has to do that. So if he's guilty, then he should be jailed.
There should be a full investigation to find out what truly transpired, to ascertain the characters involved. Because I do not think that the DGSS woke up one day and just decided that the National Assembly should be, barricaded. And I would like to see a situation where full investigation is done.
Amadine Uyi, Plus TV Africa.
Federal lawmakers joined President of the Senate, Dr. Bukola Saraki, in condemning the action of the state secret police.
The ensuring standoff was a show of shame that played itself over several hours in full view of the country. In no circumstances should this have happened. And we as a nation reap this bitter fruit instantaneously, as evident in media images relayed around the world, images that shame us as a democratic nation.
It's like the second time it's happening. First was the invasion of the Senate and the maze was stolen. Then this happening again. So it's to be expected in a government like the Senate President said, a government that has other government within the government.
What happened yesterday, I just have one word for it: the display of anomie, lawlessness and recklessness. That was what played out yesterday.
It was a very sad day for Nigeria. It was a very sad day for our hard-won democracy. It's something that is of concern to us as Nigerians who are interested in sustaining, broadening, deepening and strengthening our democratic practice.
The acting president, Professor Yemi Osibanjo, on Wednesday said President Muhammadu Buhari has been growing the Nigerian economy in spite of difficulties in the country. He said this at Ikotekpene, Akwa Ibom State, during the official defection of former Senate Minority Leader Senator Godswill Akpabio from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress. Represented by the Secretary to the Federal Government, Mr. Boss Mustafa, the acting president described Akpabio's action as uncommon defection. He said that the federal government, under the leadership of Buhari, had provided jobs to teeming youths through the N-Power program in the last 3 years. He added that the People's Democratic Party presidential candidates put together would not defeat Buhari in 2019 general election. He urged the people of Akwa Ibom to have faith in the federal government and assured them that things would improve soon. We'll take a quick break. Stay tuned for more stories when we return. 5 Kenyan soldiers have been killed in an attack claimed by the Somali group Al-Shabaab in Lamu County on Kenya's north coast on Wednesday, a senior official has said. The attack occurred between the areas of Majengo and Bodhei. The soldiers were killed after their truck ran over an improvised explosive device. We heard a blast shortly after. KDF, Kenya Defense Forces, choppers were patrolling in the air, the official told Reuters. South Sudan President Salva Kiir has given an amnesty to all those involved in the nation's civil war, including rebel leader Riek Machar, state-run television said, days after the signing of a peace deal. Republican Order Number 14 of the year 2018 for the grant of general amnesty to the leader of SPLM 10, Makateni, and other estranged groups who waged war against the government of the Republic of South Sudan from 2013 to date. Kiir's order, read on state-run television late on Wednesday, stated. Kenya Defense Forces spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Paul Njuguna told Reuters that 6 soldiers were injured, 2 critically, in the explosion, but none were killed. It was not immediately clear why the account of the KDF and the county official differed. Abdiaziz Abu Musab, Al-Shabaab spokesman for military operations, said the group was behind the attack on the KDF convoy and put the number of those killed at 9. Congolese officials and the World Health Organization began vaccinating health workers against the deadly Ebola virus on Wednesday to try to halt an outbreak in Congo's volatile east. Reuters witness on a visit to Mangina, the village in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, where the epidemic was declared, saw health workers in protective suits administering the injections. Congolese Health Minister Oli Ilunga told journalists at the start of the vaccination campaign that they were putting all their energy and expertise to quickly control the epidemic. So far, 43 people are believed to have been infected in North Kivu and Ituri provinces, including 36 who died, the health ministry said on Tuesday. When we return, we'll bring you update on Indonesian earthquake, pending sanctions on Russia, and much more. Stay with us. The United States on Wednesday welcomed President Joseph Kabila's decision to step aside and not seek re-election in the Democratic Republic of Congo, but said more must be done to ensure a democratic transfer of power. Kabila ended months of speculation when his government announced that former Interior Minister Emmanuel Ramazani Shadari will be governing party's candidate in the December 23 presidential election. We welcome reports that President Kabila will not seek a third term in accordance with his country's constitution, U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley said in a statement. This development is another step, but there is much more to be done, she added. The National Election Commission must take all steps necessary to guarantee the Congolese people have the right to exercise their vote in free, fair and credible elections on December 23, 2018, she added. The United States had pressed Kabila to step aside and declared that he would not be a candidate in the December polls, which could pave the way to the first democratic transition in the mineral-rich country. Haley traveled to Kinshasa last year to press leaders to hold the election after much delay. The Indonesian island of Lombok has been hit by a strong earthquake as it still reels from the impact of Sunday's tremor. The latest quake had a magnitude of 5.9, and there are reports it brought down some buildings. Rescue workers are still digging through rubble and trying to get aid to victims of the earlier larger quake. The Red Cross has said that the incident, which killed at least 131 people, was exceptionally destructive. Some villages had completely collapsed, said Red Cross official in Lombok, Christopher Rassi. The official death toll stands at 131, but local media are reporting figures as high as 347. The government says more than 1,400 people were injured and more than 156,000 displaced. The National Disaster Agency said all those numbers were likely to increase as more information comes in and more victims are found. The U.S. has said it will impose fresh sanctions on Russia after determining it used nerve agent against a former Russian double agent living in the UK, an attack that the Kremlin has continued to strongly deny. Spokeswoman Heather Nauert said it had been determined that the country has used chemical or biological weapons in violation of international law or has used lethal chemical or biological weapons against its own nationals. Russia has criticized the new sanctions as draconian. Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia were left seriously ill after being poisoned with Novichok in Salisbury in March, though they have now recovered. Argentina's Senate has rejected a bill which would have legalized abortion in the first 14 weeks of pregnancy. After a marathon debate, 38 senators voted against it and 31 in favor. Its defeat means lawmakers must wait a year to resubmit legislation. Currently, abortion is allowed in Argentina only in cases of rape or if the mother's health is in danger. Demonstrators on both sides of the debate gathered outside Parliament as voting took place. Up next is our business report with Edidiong Iwang.
Welcome to Business News. I'm Edidiong Iwang. Well, Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachiku, has challenged the Nigeria LNG Limited to expand its liquefied natural gas production capacity to 40 million tons per annum over the next 30 years. He said the increase will enable the country secure a significant share in the global LNG market and help with domestic supply of the commodity. He made the call during a visit to the NLNG plant on Bonny Island, Rivers State, to assess the company's state of preparedness for the construction of a new train that will lift the country's LNG production output by 35%, from 22 to 30 metric tons per annum. Well, oil prices have today eked out gains as Brent crude futures rose by 30 cents, trading at $72.58 per barrel. Well, this comes after a decline of over 3% on Wednesday. The U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures also gained 11 cents to trade at $67.05 per barrel after its 3.22% decline on Wednesday. Well, according to Tony Inanan, oil risk manager at Mitsubishi, the market price is supported by rising concerns that the sanctions on Iran are going to reduce Iranian supply. Well, on the activities of the Nigerian Stock Exchange from yesterday, our business correspondent Irene Ubani brings us up to date on all the trades and deals that took place. Well, that's it on business news, but still to come on Plus TV Africa News is our roundup on entertainment and sports. We'll be back in a moment.
And in entertainment, oil magnate Femi Otedola has revealed that he's going to sponsor the education of an 11-year-old child star, Megabyte. The business tycoon made this revelation via his Instagram post. According to the billionaire, he invited Megabyte to his office, and he says the young rapper inspired him, and for this reason, he has decided to pay for his education all the way through to university. Nollywood actress Kate Henshaw has praised Nollywood director Kunle Afolayan as she bags a nomination at the Africa Movie Academy Awards 2018. Her role in the director's movie Roti has earned her the nomination. According to her, Kunle pushed her and there were times she resented him, but he wanted what he wanted. She went on further to say the rest of the crew were truly amazing. This nomination is for us all, she concluded. The movie Roti also stars Fatia Balogun, Toyin Oshinaike, and tells the tale of a couple who lose their son to a brief illness, and the wife later sees a boy who looks like her dead son, which renews her grief and eventually sends her into depression. South African hip-hop star Linda Mckenzie, popularly known as Pro Kid, has died. According to a statement by members of his family, he suffered a severe seizure attack while on Wednesday, the 8th of August. Paramedics were immediately called to the scene to revive him. Unfortunately, all efforts proved abortive. Pro Kid is survived by his mother, father, wife, daughter, brothers, and extended family. South African Minister of Arts and Culture, Nathi Mtethewa, says about the loss, "We're deeply saddened by the tragic passing of a lyrical genius, pioneering hip-hop artist Linda Mckenzie. Pro Kid, also known as Pro Kid, he took rapping in African languages to great heights, and he will go down as one of the greatest and most influential hip-hop artists of his generation." That's it on entertainment, the very best in sports, right after this.
Hello and welcome to Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I'm Maroon Folukufeji. Premier League club Chelsea have completed the signing of Spanish international goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga from La Liga club Athletic Bilbao in a deal said to be a world record for a goalkeeper. The 23-year-old joins the Blues after the former Champions League winners paid the £71.6 million buyout clause in his contract with the Spanish side. The Spaniard inked a 7-year deal at Stamford Bridge to become the club's most expensive signing, surpassing the £60 million Chelsea paid Real Madrid for Spanish striker Alvaro Morata. He replaces former Chelsea first-choice goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois, who left for European champions Real Madrid on Wednesday night. And 26-year-old Belgian international and Chelsea goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois is said to have reached an agreement with European champions Real Madrid for a reported fee of £35 million. The Spanish club reportedly paid Chelsea for his services and is set to sign a 6-year deal and undergo his medicals before he's presented at a press conference on Thursday afternoon. Courtois joined Chelsea from Belgian club Genk in 2011 and was immediately loaned out to Spanish club Atletico Madrid, where he remained until 2014. The Belgian goalkeeper helped Atletico win the league in addition to reaching the Champions League final before he returned to Chelsea, where he won 2 Premier League titles and last season's FA Cup. Courtois won the Golden Glove Award during the recently concluded FIFA World Cup tournament in Russia after leading Belgium to an impressive third-place finish. And in tennis, world number 4 Angelique Kerber suffers her first defeat since winning at Wimbledon as she was beaten 6-4, 6-1 by Elise Cornet of France at the Rogers Cup in Montreal. The French woman, who's ranked 30 places below Kerber, won in 85 minutes. Elsewhere, 5-time Grand Slam champion Maria Sharapova thrashed fellow Russian Daria Kazatkina 6-love, 6-2 to reach the third round. The current world number 2 needed an hour and 16 minutes to see off 21-year-old Kazatkina, who is currently ranked 12th in the world. That's it from the Sports Update. I'm Maroon Folukufeji.
Thanks, Omorofoluwa. And that's our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us on Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube page at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us again. My name is Felicity Ezewike. Thanks for watching.